Buenas tardes, estamos con Damien Canac. Él es director general en Gobain. Está con nosotros compartiendo mejores prácticas en relación a lo que es el proceso de planeación estratégica. Él y su equipo corporativo están en Planta haciendo revisión para el arranque de este año. Y bueno, pues estamos con Damien para que nos comparta precisamente algo de sus buenas prácticas. Damien, thank you very much for your time for this interview.
You're more than welcome, thank you.
Good. And the idea of the interview is just to get some thoughts or point of views about, in your experience, about this strategic planning process. How to do this more effective. Nowadays, there are a lot of methodologies and stuff related to how to do this, but I think there are something that is no failure on this, and this is practice and more practice. So I know that you have a lot of experience in it. So what would be, or what could be your suggestions or recommendations to those ones that want to start making strategic planning on their businesses or in their activities related to business? So what would be those suggestions, Damien?
Well, I will start with probably a very simple fact, but before doing strategy planning, you need a strategy. and to have a strategy, you need a vision. So in my view, when you really want to start and be serious about this exercise, you probably want to start by building a vision for your business, understanding the competitive landscape where you are playing, understanding your customers, what do they need, what do they want, and most importantly, what could be your value proposition for those customers, okay? That will give you an overview and that will help you start designing a vision for the future. With that vision, then you can, step backwards and start doing what we call strategic planning. In our business, we do it once a year, usually in around April. And we do either a 3 or 5 year strategic planning, which give us the direction for the next 5 years when it comes to investment, when it comes to the main initiative that we want to develop within the business. Okay. What we do every year is that we look at this strategic planning and we compare at the end of the year where do we landed. Okay. If we did well, if we did not so well, if there are elements that we need to correct, if there are pieces that are missing, for example, and with that review, that help us to define the must-win battles. What we call the must-win battles are the main initiative, the key initiatives that we're going to focus during the coming year. So we are right here in Saltillo, where we're meeting with all our team members here to really align on those must-win battles and key initiatives for the year to come.
Okay, good, very good. The way you did it, I mean, just following the main principles on this, for sure. Damien, and related to this process, what do you consider it's been the most challenging condition that you've faced in order to get out of this process a very effective process, a strategic planning process? What could be your point of view about this?
That's a very interesting question. I would say that there are 2 pieces of it that I'd like to mention. The first one is that obviously we don't know what the year will bring to us. Okay, we live in a very uncertain environment. The economic worldwide is difficult right now. The situation in Asia, the situation in Europe, the situation in America, North America or South America are very different in terms of the dynamic of the economy. So basically we don't know. So when you do strategy planning, you want to hold on everything, okay? So the first recommendation would be, yes, we don't know and we need to accept it and we need to embrace it. So knowing that what we're going to do is to serve a long-term vision, because that's basically the direction you want to go. But you don't know yet the journey. The journey may be more curved, it's not a straight line. So that would be my first recommendation. My second recommendation is alignment. What is key when you want to implement a strategic vision is to make sure that all the stakeholders that you have everywhere are perfectly aligned with the main priorities. Okay, and in order to do that, you need to have those communication, making sure that each and everyone in the business knows what his role is and what is the expectation. And with the expectation, you can give them the freedom to operate because they know better, the local situation. But they have an idea of where do we want to go as a team, as a collective group.
Okay, good. And very good point, because besides this two main points that you just shared with us, I think another good point to take into account is the leadership. And in order to make this good leadership, you would have to make ways to motivate people in order to involve them in the process and not to have them lost in the middle. So in your experience and in your opinion, what would be the best way to motivate people to make this process effectively? And just as I mentioned, not to have them lost in the middle.
Well, there are many pieces of it. And I don't know if we have time for it, but
the main ones.
The main ones. So quickly, probably my first comment would be about what we call the collective intelligence.
Okay.
So we have a lot of talented people in our teams, and I think that it starts with building those strategic vision with them. Because if they participate to the creation of it, then they're already part of it. So you don't have to sell it to them; they're already buying. Okay. So trying to understand that the more you work together, the more input you get, the better is going to be the overall vision.
Okay.
And in that case, the role of the leadership is really to create the conditions to make that happen. So it's not being the one that's going to make the decision, it's not being the one that's going to give the direction, it's being the one that's going to create the conditions for this or those directions to come from the bottom up and to really create and consolidate a global vision where everyone knows, again, what they're going to have to do, what are the key priorities. The second element is making sure that you tap into the talent of the organization. Mm-hmm. Okay, and for that you need programs that help in terms of communication, that help bringing the ideas, that help sharing feedback, that help also giving the autonomy and the trust and the empowerment to all the people, because they are the ones that are going to do the job. And again, the role of the leadership here is to create those conditions.
Yes.
So those are the main three key elements, but there are many more, for sure.
I know that. And it's very good to have you, Damien. Thank you very much for your time.
You're more than welcome.
Suggestions. And gracias a toda la audiencia por la atención. Damien Canac, director general para el grupo Gobain, compartiendo experiencias y puntos de vista en relación a este proceso de planeación estratégica que actualmente están llevando en su planta. Gracias por su atención.
Muchas gracias a todos.